Hi, this is Jojo with Hookup Baits podcast, and today we have a special guest, Vazquez, and he is the designer of Mermaid's Milk. But before we get started talking about Mermaid's Milk, I'd like you to tell the listeners, how did you start in fishing? What? Tell us a little bit about Al and growing up and fishing, and how you got into fishing.
Well, I owe all that to my dad. Um, he was taking me fishing, the little stock trout pond since I was 2 or 3 years old enough to walk, and I was hooked ever since. We used to fish trout primarily up at I think it was called like Lake Sherwood, and he'd tell me we're leaving at 5 in the morning, and I always wanted to be the first one on the lake to get the good spot. And I'd be waking him up an hour before we were supposed to leave, and it's like he just knew that at that point. It's like, yeah, this guy's in. He loves to do it, and so it started that. We used to actually go to. My dad used to take me to Marina Del Rey, and they used to have a little bait barge there, and we'd take like a little bass rod, and they sell anchovies and pin an anchovy on and send it out, and we catch bonita in there, and it was just kind of cool, if you look back on it, and it was just different. Then as I got older, started doing like 1.5 day trips. Back in the day, it was the Cat Special, the Prowler. I think we went on. It was part of his like Rotary Club, so it was like a once a year event, and
That you get to fish with your dad.
fish with my dad. So he's the one that kind of got me into it. And then fishing tuna, bass, barracuda. You know what it's like. You go on a trip and like whatever's the best bite, and that's where we're going. So that was cool. And then as I got a little bit older, started doing the Baja trips, fishing down in the Bay of LA, San Quintin, and just kind of got my experience with that. It was really cool.
And you pass that to your boys as well.
Oh, my boys are absolutely animals. That's kind of what we do. It's, they played sports as well, but the hunting and the outdoors is something that's inside of me, and I think that everybody needs to kind of experience that. And once if they get to do it the right way, and I think that that's a big problem for a lot of people, is they go out and oh yeah, I want to do the outdoor thing, and then they get out there and they have no clue, they have no guidance. They're trying to figure it out on their own, and they just become frustrated, and you don't enjoy it. But when you're getting taught by the right people, and the group of people that surround me right now is pretty amazing. And you go out and put a hurting on fish, and it's a lot of fun.
Well,
Success
and
is a
what
lot of
great
fun.
memories with your dad that you'll always treasure, and
Oh
you're
yeah,
giving that to your boys as well.
yeah. The boys. So you have Dan. That's my oldest. He does a lot of green bass, largemouth bass fishing. Does a lot of freshwater, but he loves saltwater too. Um, from their little guys, the long range trips or medium range trips, I should say, like 3.5 days. So he got to go on those since he was probably around 14, 15. So for about 10 years now, he's been doing that. Paul, my little one, my little big
Not
one.
so little. How tall is he now?
Yeah, he's like 6'2.5". Um, but they just got to grow up on the water, and with Chad being a part of their lives, and not just fishing, but it was really cool. It was a really cool. They understand now like how lucky they were that they were able to go out and catch yellowtail, catch dorado, catch tuna. They've caught big tuna, both of them. When the big tuna showed up years ago, I think Dan was like one of the first guys to get one. I think it was like 160 pound bluefin when that was like the 100-pound was like the magical mark, you know.
Wasn't there a trip where all three of you did very well?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We had a trip. It was epic a couple years ago. I think we had 32 fish, like over 150 pounds. Biggest one was like a 275. And to give you an idea how they got brought up, the captain on the boat that we were fishing, it was a private charter, but between Dan and Paul, they gaffed and landed like they were a part of almost every one of those fish.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool. And that was kind of fun being on a big trip like that, and having a captain like, Dan, grab a gaff and stick this thing. It's like, damn, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm proud of my boys. Just they love the outdoors. They love to hunt too. We do a little bit of hunting. We do a lot more fishing, but they both love it, and that's you don't always get to have them forever. So, the memories I have of taking them out and doing all that stuff was really cool. Pretty stoked.
Well, and you've done obviously a lot of fishing and tournament fishing with Chad. Tell us a little bit about why you came up with Mermaid's Milk. What was missing out there? What makes this different? What was your thought process of, I need to create something that works a little different? Or tell us about your process.
Well, long time ago, they used to use scent for me, it was trout fishing. They used to add a little bit of garlic to Velveeta cheese, and they'd make their concoctions, and my dad was one of those guys, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then you had the guys that sprayed WD-40 on their baits, and they'd swear by that. And everybody had like their little secret scent type thing, and then I never really gave it much thought. We would go out, we'd fish. They had the stuff, you open up the jar, I forget the name of it, and we would dip baits in that every once in a while, and that was effective at times. And then Chad and I were fishing, and he had some some guys that would show up and like, hey, try my scent, hey, try my scent, try this, try that. And then we would take it out, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Sometimes it was just kind of like, guys, it's too much work trying to get the scent into our baits. And so Chad and I, we were kind of talking about it, and I'm like, I said, maybe I should just come up with something. Let me see if I can figure this out. And it was kind of painful, to be honest. I mean, it took probably close to a year of cooking and stinking up my house, and you can imagine what that's like. All my buddies, you're up there churning the mermaid's milk. Hey, don't be jealous. I'm the guy who gets to milk mermaids for a living. So yeah, so it basically we came up with Mermaid's Milk based on being effective, ease of use. If it's not easy to use, you're not gonna use it and apply it. And we added some things to it. It has the flake in it. That also helps it out. The bottle's designed to work perfectly with the hookup bait.
And did you try lots of different types of bottles and what's going to work best and easy?
Yeah, we tried different bottles, different tips. This is a open closed tip, so basically when you get it, you just twist it open. You can stick it right inside the bait, and when you apply it, you just find the bait has a nice little cavity for it, which what really works. So you just kind of squeeze it in there until you fill it up, and So now you have your bait, your scent inside. You just close the top, you know, and now your scent is inside, and it doesn't just wash off the top of the, the outside of the bait. So as I present this bait, the scent's being carried inside, and there's a little bit of that flake that's kind of washing out the back. We'll call it the wash, like on a boat. And so it's throwing that glitter out. When game fish are eating bait fish, right, there's tons of scales in the water when they're eating them. So this just has a couple little flakes that just kind of being dispersed. So if that light hits it, refracts from it, and just another trigger. Not saying it's 100% foolproof, but it's definitely not hurting. And
how often would you suggest applying, or when would you use scent for the hookup baits?
Hookup baits are infused with garlic as a cover scent. It's a cover scent. Scent can be used in a couple different ways. One is, you have gas on your hands, the smell of plastic, any human odor that might be offensive to a fish. So you could use it as a cover scent, but these scents are designed so when they smell it, they know that they're eating the real thing. So we're attracting them.
Okay.
So that definitely helps out. And the way you realize if you need more scent is, you look inside the cavity of the bait, and as it washes out, it'll last probably, I don't know, I would say maybe 10, 12 casts, something like that. And you just kind of apply it as needed. Sometimes it makes all the difference in the world. Sometimes that particular day they're keyed in and you don't need any scent. But when you need it, you better have it.
Now, talk and tell us, the listeners, you have 4 different types of scent.
Right. Can
you be a little more specific of the particular scent and what it is designed for, or the targeted species?
Sure. So the white one, the white one here is the garlic. That works on all game species. It's primarily designed for trout. It does work for catfish. It works for bass. It works in the saltwater. It's a good cover scent, just like the hookup bait is infused with. Then we go to the yellow one here. This is our fin bait. Fin bait would be more your chovy, sardine, that type of scent. Also adds a nice yellow lateral line on your bait, which gives it an extra color. When you look at baits and you look at sardines, their little gill plates and stuff like that. That bicolor definitely will help. So when fish are feeding up on the surface and they're feeding on the fin bait, that's the color that you go with. When the fish are down deeper and this red one here is the crustacean. When they're feeding on shrimp and crab and things like that, we copied that color to mimic the red crab. So you apply it the same way. And for rockfish, the sheephead go crazy for that scent. We've had several trips where we were up north. We were at St. Nicholas Island. Chad and I were, just to give you a little story about that, we were on a boat full of sponsors for the Anglers Chronicle, and they had a boat full of squid, and we went with this crustacean, hookup baits, doing the whole presentation up on the bow. And it was a trip I'll never forget, because it was the first time that we got to fish hookup baits against a bunch of talent full of live squid. And we had the biggest fish. We had like 4 or 5 of the biggest fish on the boat. We had a yellowtail. If I had pictures right now, I'd show you the the big goats that we caught, it was epic. It was just like, yeah, that's what we're about, you know.
Great feeling.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. So that for rockfish and bass and anything that's eating shrimp and crab is the way to go. And then this green one here, this is the newest one we've just added. This is our crawfish, and that one was tested. It took a long time to make sure it was right and it was gonna work. We tested it all over, from Havasu, Mojave, all the way down here in San Diego Lakes and stuff. So it got the approval, and so we're excited. That one also works really well on saltwater bass. So so yeah, so it's been very fortunate to put this together. It was out of necessity for us, just more ease of use, and then everybody was, it just kind of caught on. Everybody's like, yeah, let me try that. Where do I get that? So that's how that's where we are today.
And with the consistency, if I know some of your days start very early in the morning, and obviously we can get a little summer heat at times.
Right.
Does the consistency bear to temperature at all?
Yeah, that's a great question. Get that asked a lot. So this is temperature sensitive. It's basically designed 72 degrees, 80 degrees. It has a consistency of, I would say it's more like a gel toothpaste, if that's, if that's the right, consistency of it. If it gets cold, it's going to get firm. So you just take this and you shove it in your pocket. If you're out fishing, wherever you happen to be, just kind of warm it up, and then that takes care of that. If it's too hot and it's just too runny, because we like it to stay inside the bait. We don't want to just pour it on. There's some other scents that are out there. You put it in and you go like this, and it's just dripping all over the boat and all over your clothes, and that's just not how we roll.
You mean the way I fish the Mermaid's Milk?
Cannoli.
I just love it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The more the merrier for mine. Yes.
Yeah. So if it does get runny, you can just stick it. Like, I've been on like a sport fishing boat. We were at Clemente. The sun's out. I'm using my scent, and just take it up and stick it in the bait tank. So in one of the wells right there, usually they put some knives and stuff, and you just set it in there, and just the chill of the water will firm it right up.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so you could do that.
Now, you came with two different sizes. Was there a mindset of why you came up with two different sizes, or was it just for economical, you've got two different sizes to choose from? What was your thought process on that?
Well, the 2 ounce size, that's the smaller size. The 2 ounce and a 4 ounce. The 2 ounce is it just fits in your pocket better. To be honest, I mean, Chad was like, yeah, I kind of like the 2 ounce because I just slide it in my, my hoodie, and I pull it out, and I'm spotty fishing. It's easier. I'm like, okay, everybody. That's what's so great about Hookup Baits is that it's collective. I would be like, oh, I'll take the big one, because I want more, but that's cool. It's just ideas like that. And then the 4 ounce, if you're fishing outside, if you're fishing salt water and you have a big bait, you need to go with the 4 ounce. The 2 ounce is not going to cut it. So it's just not enough scent for a big bait.
And then you mentioned choosing the right scent for the right targeted species, right. But also it can change the belly of a hookup bait as well. Does that play into effect of which ones you might use for where you're fishing?
Yeah, a little bit. I kind of like, if you're on a surface grind, I would go with the fin bait again. Just for fishing chovy, sardines, stuff like that, I would definitely go with the fin bait. And then if you're down deep, structure, and they're eating crabs and shrimp and things like that, I'd go with the crustacean, the red one.
And we have a lot of groms that fish the shores.
Okay.
And they've always asked, out of all the scents, what would you recommend? They're here in San Diego and they're shore pounding. Any recommendations for them?
I would go with crustacean. That's my that's my winner. Some people will tell me different, but that's what I'm going
That's
with.
your go-to?
That's my go-to.
And you designed the crawfish for freshwater, but we sure have a lot of orders for individuals that are fishing saltwater. Why do you think it's a crossover so easy?
Well, crawfish, I mean, it has the right oil scent. It has the right trigger, I guess, for their brain. It's a crustacean of some sort, so it's got to be the reason that they love it.
And for trout fishing, the hookup baits obviously are infused with a garlic scent.
Right.
Would you apply more garlic, Mermaid's Milk scent when needed, or what were your thoughts on that? Because I know you do a lot of trout fishing.
Yeah, the trout fishing, the one thing I never really thought of, because when you're talking fishing for trout, it's ultralight line, small bait. Yeah, it's great, if the conditions are all right and there's no wind. But I don't know about you, but when I go fishing, there's wind, and I'm always on the wrong side of the lake or whatever, wherever I'm at, if you're fishing from a boat. But what I do like about the scent and what it does enhance the bait, in my opinion, is when you put some scent inside that belly of that bait, it also adds a little bit of weight to it. So when you're casting it, it just kind of helps you get to the zone that you're trying to reach. Just cover more water.
Well, let's take a break right now. We'll come right back. We'll be back in a few minutes. Thanks for joining us. Oh, we are having way too much fun here, and now that we both have caught our breath here.
Yeah, I was losing something there.
Let's try and pick up on the yellowtail and tuna fishing and how Mermaid's Milk helped in those trips.
Okay, so we used to believe that fishing pelagic fish, that the scent had no bearing on it, right? You're just ripping a bait through the water, swimming along, pelagic fish sees it, follows it, kills it, and you're on. So we were on a trip a few years ago. We were at Clemente Island, and I'm supposed to be the guy who fishes all the time, catches all the yellowtail, helps people out. And so we're catching yellowtail, except for me, and I could not figure out what I was doing wrong. So the whole boat, everybody's hooked up, and I'm firing, and they're using hookup baits. My kid, my friends, everybody. Oh my God, this is the best yellowtail fishing I've ever had. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Woo! So I seen a couple yellows follow it. I was bringing the bait back to the boat and, just burning it, and they're following it, and then they just peel off. And I'm like, what's going on? So I run into my kid on one side of the boat. I'm like, how many you got? He's like, I got like 4. I'm like,
wow.
4?
Wow.
He's like, yeah, it's like every cast. I'm like, I can't get bit. He's like, well, you're using scent, right? I'm like, no, you don't need scent. He goes, yeah, you do. And so I'm like, really? I'm like, all right, well, why fight it, right? So this is my scent.
I was going to say, you are the founder. Yeah,
yeah, duh. So instantly I put scent on, and my first cast I hooked up, and I said, holy crap, like, really? Okay, I guess I'm wrong. And then my next cast, or 2 or 3 casts later, I hooked my second one, and I was like, damn, okay. So I guess sometimes maybe they, they'll follow that scent, and they'll know it's real, or maybe there's just iron being thrown around, and they're just like, nope, they're picking their victim. I'm not sure exactly, but I can tell you that it worked, and I was shocked, that it made that big of a difference. And then we've also been after the big bluefin. everybody's throwing knife jigs, flat falls, all that type of stuff. I think I was the first one to take one of the real big hookup baits. It's like a 6 ounce, 4, 6. I think it was a 6 ounce, and tied big leader on it. It's like 250-pound fluorocarbon, and put scent in it. It was awesome. It was awesome to go after fish that size that, people were just kind of like, oh, you can't get one on a hookup bait. I'm like, yeah, watch. That's kind of how we do things around here. It's like, really? Okay. Challenge accepted. So I landed a pretty big bluefin, about 100, I think it was like 145 pounds, something like that. I hooked another 2 that same night. It's very effective. It's an adrenaline rush, and you have to have the right gear for that. You have to be ready to go. There's no time to get ready after you hook one. It's pretty much game on from the beginning. But hookup baits, they've done everything. The scent, those fish key in on it. It's not just a scent in the sense that, they're going to smell it and they're going to eat it, but it also adds color to your baits. That's a big thing. I know that you've done some spotty fishing, and we used to laugh about how much scent you used to put in these things.
Yeah, I carry the 4 ounce just for the day trip. Yes,
okay.
Yes.
But like we've done some night fishing down in Mission Bay, and sometimes those fish, they'll smell their way around to food. It's the only thing we can attribute it to, because they seem to locate in on it.
And there's certain combinations that seem to work. What are kind of your favorite combinations for hookup baits color and the type of scent that you're putting in the belly to kind of change that to give it a third color?
Yeah, there's like the Christmas tree color. A lot of people are big on that. It's like the sardine and the crustacean. I personally like the mint and sardine with the fin bait. That's my favorite. Those are my favorite colors. For rockfish, it's the brown with the crustacean. Everybody loves the brown and red.
And I've heard some people like the mint with the crawfish.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to get some feedback on that. They really like the crawfish with the mint. There's just, everybody has their own preference. They can combine and change colors and see what works for them, and it's all about confidence. So once you have your combination, it puts you in a different attitude. You have a whole another attitude when you're out there fishing. You're going to get bit. If there's a fish there that's, if the fish are in the area and you have everything that you want as far as your setup, that you're going to get them. Mm-hmm. And that makes all the difference in the world. It's all about your confidence.
Couldn't agree more. Now, tell us, how did you come up with Mermaids Milk? How did you come up with the name?
Well, I didn't put too much thought into how I'm going to answer that. There's the G-rated version.
Yes, we have lots.
Yeah. The real reason, it's a totally cool logo. If you've seen the logo on Mermaids Milk, I love it.
And how did you come up with that? Because it's got some very specific parts to that logo. It's just not created. There are reasons. So tell the listeners how you came up with that logo.
Yeah. So my buddy Paul Anderson, better known as AKA Pretty Hair.
Yep.
He's kind of a artsy crafty kind of guy. He's got good ideas, things like that. And so I kind of told him like kind of what we wanted to do and how we wanted to get this logo, the look of it. So he hired somebody to kind of do a rendering of it, and somehow he incorporated. I don't know where we were at, but I have a Rolex watch. So he saw my Rolex watch, and he's like, "Oh man, that'd be cool to put the outside of a Rolex in the design." So he kind of gave some input to this artist, and she kind of created it. So if you look on the outside face of the design, that's part of a Rolex watch. And then what's that?
Show him. Right there.
Oh. He's kind of showing me. I don't think you can zoom in. My pinner arms right here. Jed's like, I'm trying to read your arm. Yeah, what does that say?
I was like, what's that to do with our website?
So anyway, so it kind of came up, and I thought the idea of a mermaid, who doesn't like a mermaid? The fish love mermaids, right? Everybody loves mermaids. So Mermaids Milk kind of was appropriate as to, there's chocolate milk, there's vanilla milk. There's, everybody's got a flavor. So there's some kind of a.
Well, we also have the second Hookup Baits boat is wrapped with your logo, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, we get a lot of compliments on that. Just driving down the freeway, people are always commenting on it. Yeah. It's cool. Yeah, super cool.
And obviously we have it, the logo on our apparel. Mm-hmm. You can get shirts and hoodies, and the sun shirts have it as well. So, it's just a beautiful logo and a great story. Anything else you would like to share with our listeners as far as the effectiveness? Where do you see Mermaid's Milk in the next 5 years? What are your thoughts? What are your aspirations of where Mermaid's Milk will go?
Well, Mermaid's Milk to me is a part of the Hookup Bait family. I've been all in and have always been a 100% believer in the Hookup Baits brand or product, or however you guys want to describe it, the family that belongs to it. So however big Hookup Baits gets, that's how big Mermaid's Milk's going to get. So wherever we go, whatever ocean we end up on, whatever lake we end up on, that's where it's going.
Well, and it's a true partnership. I mean, it's a partnership among friends as well as a partnership among the collaboration of the bait and why the scent was designed and how it makes it so easy for our customers to use and the effectiveness of adding to the bait.
Yeah, I think for people that are kind of in, skeptical on whether they should use scent or not use scent, I think if they try it, they're going to realize that they've been missing out. That's just my opinion. I think that once you kind of get used to it and you start applying it and you see the results, I think that's going to make them a believer. So
I appreciate that. Well, thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate it, and all the laughs today. And thank you for joining us.